And today I'm looking forward to hearing your views on why change is so hard, and then also you're going to provide an interesting parallel with Ironman training, and this is in regards to corporate continuous improvement. Um, my first question is regarding is why is change so difficult?
Well, thank you, Dustin. Thank you for having me on the show, first of all. It really is, it was a pleasure to receive your invite, and I'm so happy to talk about this topic because it is something that I'm really passionate about. And the first question, why is change so difficult? Well, I'll put that first into my business experience. I've been in business planning for over 15 years. I've heard so many stories of companies trying to implement different processes and technologies. And at the end of the day, I've seen some really great salespeople do a great sales pitch with companies and say, as soon as you implement this software, you're going to see X, Y, and Z. Someone in IT will just implement that. But then there were so many missing pieces of the puzzle and the building the foundation behind all of that, where you really need to get what I'm going to talk about is four things in place for a company and also for someone who's training for Ironman, which I will get to in a second, in order to put those things in place, put the bricks sort of down as a foundation in order to really implement change and be successful with it.
And can you talk some about how it's done?
Sure, Dustin. So, a little bit of background about me. Again, I have 15 years experience in business planning. I also am I'm an athlete. So I have been a runner for probably about 20 years. I've also been in triathlon for about 5 years now. This is my fifth season. I completed Ironman, my first Ironman distance triathlon race last year. And for the folks out there, that's a 2.4 mile swim, 112-mile bike, and then you do a full marathon after that. So needless to say, there's a lot of training, a lot of months of planning, and a lot involved in order to do that, in order to make it to that finish line. And it sort of is the same thing with continuous improvement at companies. I kind of want to just go through, if that's okay, 4 steps of what it really takes to implement change for not only that athlete, but also that corporation that really is going to benefit from spending all that money, time, resources, effort, and all the talent they have to hire in order to back all that up to get really good success at the end of that project. So, Dustin, I'll start with number one, which is planning. And it seems pretty simple. Of course, you have to plan. But that old cliche of fail to plan, plan to fail, fail to plan, I should say, is so absolutely true. You really need to get a schedule in place. You need to have that roadmap down very clear, and you need to lay out that foundation. Whether you're building a new website, whether you are looking to put in a new process in place in your company, or implemented a new technology, the planning is really crucial. And I'll parallel that with Ironman training, where it's 7 months of training in a platform called Training Peaks, and I have a coach. I listen to my coach diligently, and he really analyzes all of my data between heart rate, cadence on the bike, how fast I swim, and looks at my continuous improvement and really talks through the areas of where I need to concentrate on, focus in on, and really put more effort in. And I'll sort of just go a little back where when I was a runner for many years, I was a 2:10 half marathon girl. I always did my half marathons in 2 hours and 10 minutes, no matter what terrain, no matter what the weather was. I didn't have a coach. I just continued to run like I always ran, or every single year, year after year, race after race. So when I implemented a coach and a strategy and a plan, and I did that before I started my training, before I ran, before I biked, and before I swam, that made the world of difference because we knew collectively that I was going to run better and I was going to bike better and swim better from the beginning of the training to that final race day, because we were going to put the tools in place, the work ethic in place, and the plan that was going to make that happen. So the plan is really important. So Dustin, I move on to number 2, which is being flexible. So out in Ironman, you do your best to be so well prepared, but anything really can happen out there. Let's say you get a flat tire. You have to be so well prepared mentally to just handle that couple of minutes where you have to sit on the road, pull out that tire, inflate a new tube, put the tire back on. And it's only really a couple of minutes because, of course, you planned beforehand and you knew how to fix that tire. But you really just have to gather your thoughts, be flexible, and go with it. And say to yourself, you know what, the 5 minutes that it's taking me to do this is really okay. It's something that I can mentally handle. So being flexible is so important also in being in corporate and having continuous improvement. There are going to always be bumps in the road. There are always going to be challenges from upper management. There's always going to be people that are going to question you. Why are you spending so much time doing this? Why are you spending endless nights working parallel, trying to implement change while you're still trying to get your work done? And you're going to always have these things come up, and you have to be mentally and physically flexible to handle all of that pressure. I move on to number 3, Dustin, which is buy-in. And in my experience with corporations, I've heard it time after time of no matter what the company is trying to do for change, that it is a very big struggle and almost impossible without implementing change, without the support from sponsorships, from the upper management, from the executive team, and from someone who's really going to be a champion to see that project through no matter what happens. And you really need to be savvy, and you really need to be very good with your relationships in order to make that happen. But buy-in is absolutely crucial. And I'll parallel that with Ironman. You're going to need major buy-in from your family and your friends and your husband or spouse or whoever, because you need tremendous support in order for you to follow through and execute that plan. I'll take for an example, this past Saturday, I spent 12 hours of training between swimming, biking, and running. That was my whole Saturday. And then Sunday I had to go out there and do it again and run 16 miles. And I'm not even at the peak of training. So in order to execute that, you really need to have buy-in from the people behind the people that are with you, that support you, your family, your friends. And then again, in parallel, in corporations, you really need that upper management support. Finally, number 4 is really executing that pace of change. So I mentioned to you before that I was this 2:10 marathon girl, which is sort of this, 10, 11 mile a minute pace. And I really was just sort of, doing the same thing over and over and over. So now to really execute that pace of change for on that race day or for that launch of that project, it's going to be easy if you put 1, 2, and 3 in perfect place. If you really have that plan that was well thought out, that you had the buy-in from the key stakeholders, that you were flexible enough that when bumps in the road and flat tires came your way, you rose to the occasion. And then now it's just a matter of presenting your gift, presenting your gift of training so hard on Ironman Day, and presenting your gift of what you did for that company and launching successfully. That's really, really something that should be so easy and seamless on launch day or race day because of all the time, effort, and planning that you put in place in order to make that happen and make that successful.
Thanks, Constance. And is there any more information about yourself, a background about yourself you'd like to include?
Well, thank you, Dustin. Thank you so much for this time. I am actually now, I'm taking all my experiences and I'm helping companies find their marketing strategy and their plan. I am now the CEO of iTwitter Coach, and you can find me on LinkedIn. And I'm also training for my second Ironman in Chattanooga, Tennessee this year with my team, Tri Global Coaching, and really looking forward to seeing how this year's training compares to last year, especially when I was putting, all these things in place in order to see certain things happen and again, the change to happen.
Thank you.